Well, hello everybody. Welcome to Jeff's baking blog. Today I'm making what is often known as a coffee cake. It doesn't have any coffee in it. It's a cake that you drink, it's a cake that you eat when you're drinking your coffee. And this is going to have walnut streusel topping, and there'll be some walnut streusel in the middle of the cake as well. Because I'll put the batter, half the batter in, put some streusel on, put the other half of the batter in, and then bake the cake. So it's quite a simple recipe, and I've started off by greasing and lining a 9-inch springform cake tin, and I've got my oven preheating at 180 Celsius. That's 160 Celsius with a fan, 350 Fahrenheit. So for the ingredients, I have two separate lots of ingredients, one for the cake batter and one for the streusel. So for the cake batter, I have 170 grams, which is 3/4 of a cup of unsalted butter, which I've melted. I have 240 grams, which is 2 cups of plain flour. I have 150 grams, which is 3/4 of a cup of light brown sugar. I have 1 1/4 teaspoons of baking powder and 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda. I have 1/2 teaspoon of ground allspice. I'm going to use 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. Then I also have 2 medium eggs, that would be large in the USA, and 1 cup, 240 millilitres of creme fraiche. Now you could use sour cream. Sour cream that we get in the UK is not the same as in the USA or Canada, so I'm using creme fraiche for this. You could also use natural yogurt, that would be fine. So they're the ingredients for the cake batter, and I'm actually just going to move those to one side for a moment. And then for the streusel, I have here 1 cup of chopped nuts, and that works out at about 100 grams. I'm using walnuts, which I've very roughly chopped. You could use hazelnuts, pecans, whatever you wanted, almonds, or a mixture of all of them, but just 1 cup of those. I have 45 grams, 6 tablespoons of plain flour. I have 3/4 of a cup, 150 grams of dark brown sugar, and then I have a teaspoon of ground cinnamon and 1/2 teaspoon of ground allspice, and then I have 63 grams, 4.5 tablespoons of melted butter. So what I'm going to do first of all is to put the spices and the flour into the sugar, and I'm just going to stir that around and break that sugar up a little bit. And then I'm going to put the walnuts in, and I'm going to mix that around as well. And then the melted butter. There's 63 grams of melted butter, that is. And I'm going to mix that around, and that is simply going to be our streusel topping and filling. And that's good like that. So I'm going to set that to one side. And then we'll make the cake batter, and for that I'm going to put my melted butter, which is the 170 grams, into a bowl, and I'm simply going to add into that the eggs, and the creme fraiche, and the sugar, and I'm going to whisk those to get them all incorporated until the sugar has been dissolved a little bit at least. And that's all mixed together. So then I'm going to add in my teaspoon of vanilla extract, and I'm going to put my allspice, my baking powder and the baking soda into the flour, and with a little whisk I'm just going to mix those around to get those fairly evenly spread throughout. And then I'm going to mix those into the batter, and I'll do that just by folding it in until I've got it all incorporated. Making sure to go to the bottom of the bowl. And that's quite well mixed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put about half of that into my cake tin. It doesn't matter if it's not exactly half. And then I'm going to spread that around to cover the bottom. Just like that. And with that spread, I'm going to take some of my mixture of streusel topping, and I'm going to sprinkle that over, like that, and I'm going to spread it around. I'm going to use my hand for this because I want to break up any lumps, or big lumps should I say. And with that spread, I'm actually just going to press it a little bit. I don't want this to go right into the batter, but just so that it adheres. And then I'm going to spoon on the remaining batter, and I'm going to spoon it into clumps, which will make it easier for spreading. And then that just needs to be spread across gently so that it doesn't disturb too much of the streusel that we've put in. And then with that spread like that, I'm just going to sprinkle the topping. And again, I'm going to just gently tap that like that. And I'm going to put that into the oven, and I'm going to bake it for 50 to 55 minutes until I can press it and it feels springy to the touch. Then I'll take it out and let it cool down, and I'll come back and show you the results. The walnut streusel coffee cake baked, and I baked mine for 50 minutes, and I pressed the top gently with my fingers, and it was springy. So I've taken it out and I've let it cool down. It's still actually warm, but I understand that sometimes these are eaten warm. So this is what it looks like. I've cut a slice, and you can see the layer of the streusel there. You could make that layer thicker if you wanted to add more streusel. But it certainly seems quite soft, so we'll have a taste. It's nice and soft and light, and it has that the hint of the cinnamon and the allspice, and then you've got the crunchiness of the streusel and the walnuts. So I think that's very good. I can't say how it will go with coffee because I don't drink coffee, but it would certainly go very well with a cup of tea. So that's going to be it for this recipe. I hope you've enjoyed it, and if you have, please give me the thumbs up below the video and click to subscribe to my YouTube channel. In the top right hand corner of the screen there will be an eye that you can click on, and that will take you to the recipe, and I'll put a link for the recipe below the video as well. And I'll be back with another recipe in the very near future, so until then, happy baking.